Go.
Hey everyone, this is Peter. Sonia asked me to do a video, or we're going to do a video, but where I can explain Mabo stance. So if you've been watching her videos as she's been going through the Wim Hof method and Mabo, as she has, you've probably been wondering what Mabo is. It's this particular Mabo stance, which means horse rider stance. This particular one is from a kind of Kung Fu that I used to practice years ago called Hongya Kung Fu. I'm not going to get into that, just going to get into the stance. So without further ado, here's the stance. You want to always have your knees slightly bent, always. And then to get into the stance, then there are 5 keys that you follow, and you want to use these keys in order. So the easiest way is to put your feet about 1.5 hip width apart. So if this is hip width, go about halfway out from there. I've got really long legs, so I go a little bit further. So from here, with my knees bent, and the 5 keys are this. Point your toes in, I'll show you what that means. Grip the ground with your toes. Push your knees out. Tuck your hips under, and then pull in with your inner thighs. So we'll go one at a time. First is point your toes in. So all that means is within the limits of how your body is naturally put together, then point your toes, pivot on your heels, or do it however you can, and point your toes inward to the greatest degree that you can while you're still comfortable. So this is the greatest degree that my body goes while it's still comfortable. I could force it to go there, but I'm starting to feel discomfort in my hips and in my knees. That's too far. So whatever it is for you, it could be that your feet look like they're parallel, but you can feel within your body that, okay, you know what, this is as far as my body comfortably goes, that's fine. So toes in, that's number 1. Grip the ground with your toes. If you can't do that, then we'll address that in a few minutes. Push the knees outward. Again, you're pushing the knees out. They don't have to go out. Just feel within your body that you're doing it. So that's number 3. Number 4 is tuck the hips under, or another way to think of it is tucking your butt under. So if you're not sure what that is, then try the opposite to get some point of reference. Stick your butt out. So that's the opposite of what you want. Tuck your butt under. So that's number 4. Number 5 is with your inner thighs pull together. Now, a lot of people, the very first time that I've taught this to many people, and a lot of the people, the first time they ever do it, as soon as they pull with their inner thighs, then they hold their breath. Oh, this is really hard. Relax. Just breathe. Relax your breath. And this is it. This is Mabo stance. And when you feel it, when you do it, then you'll feel everything from your toes all the way up your legs, all the way up to your hips. Everything's going to be working. So when you get out of Mabo stance, then you just go in reverse. You relax your inner thighs, you relax your hips, you relax your knees, and do this in this order. Otherwise, it's possible, especially if you've been practicing the stance, you've been training the stance for several minutes, then your joints can get kind of stiff. It's not a bad stiffness, it's just a natural byproduct of practicing it. The stiffness goes away. But because of the stiffness, then if you just step out of the stance, you can hurt yourself. So you want to go in reverse order. So inner thighs relax, hips relax, knees relax. I like to wiggle my toes a little bit to make sure that they're relaxed. And then just kind of gently rock my hips back and forth, forward and backwards. And from that, then use that motion to lock my feet together. Ta-da! That's it. So that's me doing it the classic way, or whatever, how I was taught when I was in Kung Fu class. Now I'm gonna take the camera and gonna film Sonia doing it, and there are a couple slight modifications that may need to be made if you don't have as much control or as much function over your affected foot or ankle, knee, leg, and whatever, and we'll try to address all of those possibilities.
Okay,
So what do you always want to do first? Bend the knees?
bend the knee.
Yeah, you don't have to squat down, just you have to make sure
Yeah.
your knees aren't straight, because you're going to hurt your knees if you do that. Make sure there's a little bit of a bend always.
So, knee, or feet in, and is that even?
That's pretty close. You want to get your feet as even with each other as possible. You don't want one foot being like this and then the other one being way in, because it's gonna tweak your joints because of the imbalance from one side to the other. So that's why she's asking if her feet are even. That toe, either put that toe pointed in a little bit more or point this one less.
Like that?
That's better.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to take a moment to address the fact that she's wearing shoes. It's best not to wear shoes if you can, but if you can't curl your toes, grip the ground with your toes, if you need some help with the grip, wear athletic shoes like she's wearing. The rubber on the underside of the sole, it's great with gripping pretty much any kind of surface, and on carpet it's especially great. So if you need a little help like that, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. But still make sure to have an intention of doing all 5 of the keys. Don't skip the second one. Speaking of which, the second one is...
Grip
grip with the toe. Grip the ground with your toes.
Yeah.
So obviously, since you've got shoes on, then even if your toes are gripping, you're not going to be gripping the ground.
No.
But you still want to activate that part of the body.
Yeah. Third one, knees out.
Mm-hmm. Notice how her knees didn't visually go out, but that's okay, because again, it's not about pushing the knees out physically. If your body goes that way, that's fine, but most people's don't. It's about feeling that you are pushing your knees outward. That's what's more important. It's not about how it looks.
4, my hips
Tucked under?
tucked under.
Cool. And again, then it's not a visual thing. Everybody looks a little different because everybody's put together a little different. So just go by feel.
And 5, my knees.
Not knees.
No, my thighs.
Yep. Are pulling in.
Pulling in.
Yes. And this is, so you saw what Mabo stance looks like with me. I'm sure that it looks a little bit different with her. That's fine. So now, hello, and here comes our friendly neighbor.
Sorry.
That's okay. And so with getting out of the stance, then go ahead and demonstrate that.
Okay, so first one, my thighs relax.
Yep.
My hips relax.
Mm-hmm.
My knees relax.
Mm-hmm.
My toes.
Wiggle your toes.
Wiggle my toes. And the last is
Just rocking the hips gently forward and backward, and then using that motion itself to get out of the stance. It's very, very common. I'll hold that for a second. It's very, very common at any level of practice, even at advanced levels, to, after you're training for a while, training in the stance, to get out and you're walking like this for anywhere for a couple minutes to maybe even 10 minutes. I do every single time. Even when I was training and I got fairly far in that system of martial arts. Every single time, all of us, all of my classmates, everyone, we'd be training and staying in the stance for a long time, sometimes like an hour or so. And we, yeah, doing kung fu. This is us. We're so capable. And so we would be stiff for several minutes, but the body, just let the body work it out, let the blood flow kind of, go back to normal. That's fine, that's normal. If you feel joint pain, you don't want that. If you feel joint pain, then message one of us and we'll help you work things out and see if this is an appropriate exercise for you. I think that's about it.
Okay.
All right.
Hi.
See you guys.
Bye.